Hello, everybody, and happy Energy Sword Sunday. I thought that in light of all the recent Reach buzz with it coming to the PC and the current flight that's going on, which I was invited to, I thought I would jump into Halo Reach and look at some of those old maps for this episode of Extreme Forge Makeover. We're jumping into one of my maps called Renegade. I believe the description said, "This long abandoned forerunner construct floats eerily above the ocean." I think it says something about maybe 4 to 12 players for a limited objective. Actually, I think it's full objective because it definitely has capture the flag, assault territories, and all that. As you'll see in a bit, we'll go over some of the spawns. Not the spawns, but the objective placements. Yeah, this is a pretty big map. And I opened it up recently, and I looked at it, and the memories just came flooding back, and I just remember how much I like this map. This is one of the few maps where I actually got to play with a few people. I don't have any clips of it, but I remember having a small 6 or 8 person match going on this level, and I actually really liked it. But now I'm just doing a fly around of the map. It's a big map. One vehicle is a Banshee in the middle. You see there's a lot of lifts, and we're just spawning in, so we kind of walk through everything. Here's some turrets at the top. 2 turrets seems like a bit much. We'll probably go in and change that. Here's a Needler. Needler seems like a pretty good weapon for this map. The ranges around those elbows are kind of just long enough for a Needler to get in on someone. Maybe you could get someone before you just get headshotted. But seems like a good weapon for that area. And there's a lot of nice intersecting forge pieces here that make a really appealing geometry. Here's a lift that actually launches you to the other side. Kind of clumsy. You lose your shield, and the only thing that's stopping you is this wall that's sitting there. And you actually hit your head on that weird bunker that you get launched out of. This one's open. You can see 1 health left. I almost literally died just from going up the lift. We'll fix that in a bit. It's really inconsistent. Sometimes you won't lose any shield, and sometimes you'll almost die or completely die. These kind of capped off bunker like lifts right here are really clumsy. I'm probably going to take those out and put the other more open lifts that you see that I was going on earlier. Here's the other base. I'm just going to call this blue base. I'm going to call the Banshee base red base from now on. There's a lot of turrets on this level. We're going to get rid of a lot of them when we jump in the forge later. But I thought it was a nice kind of defensive objective map. Kind of a cramped building here. Oh, the reason I'm blowing myself up right now is because when I got hurt, you constantly hear a heartbeat sound, and it's really annoying. We're going to be jumping back and forth between the 2 bases just to look at kind of where the weapons are and how it is to traverse the map. There's a lower level down there. You can see these kind of Triforces are actually lifts. If we go through this teleporter in just a second, you'll see the bottom of them, and I'll show a few perspectives of flying up the teleporter. Now there's 2 teleporters you could take. They're very close to each other. So I don't know if there's any real strategy to choosing which one. It just looks very visually appealing. I really like it. And it kind of brings you up to this very open platform where you can get shot. We'll probably add some cover in there a little bit. So going back down through the teleporter, this pathway that's down here is very open. And for some reason right now all I have down there is, you'll see in a second, I have a plasma pistol and a concussion rifle, which I think is really stupid because this is a very risky area to go. And right now it has very little reward. I'm planning on probably putting a rocket launcher or a sniper rifle, some kind of power weapon down there, since it's so high risk. You do die if you jump from the top area right there down to the center. If you don't like land on the railing and do kind of a trick jump, you will die from that fall. Here's the concussion rifle. Not very useful. I'm not sure why I placed that there. Not really a power weapon or anything. These lifts at the bottom are pretty interesting. They launch you up onto these nice little ramps. So like if you do get through and the enemies are going back across the elbows, maybe you could flank them that way and fly up and surprise them. But I think it's interesting that that's the only way to get back up from that side. So it kind of forces the blue team people to kind of move forward from down there, or the people who advance, they can't really get into the base just from going through the bottom. The blue base is very simplistic, just 2 floors, a few walls. We're probably going to add a little bit of decoration here just to make it more interesting in a bit. A lot of DMRs and accurate weapons on the map. Yeah, still a lot of turrets. We're going to keep this turret, I believe, because I think it's a really interesting position. If you could get kills with it, then good job, because you're probably going to get sniped by DMRs or an actual sniper. So I think it's kind of a nice risk versus reward scenario. And it's good for countering the Banshee, along with the Spartan laser that's directly behind me. This Spartan laser is specifically there to counter the Banshee, but you can also kill other people with it. There's a few ways to counter the Banshee on this map, because I think that when I was building it, I thought maybe the Banshee was kind of a power weapon, kind of like a thing that people would have flocked to. I like to think that this map would actually work really well with free-for-all as well. I don't know, with maybe 8 people or something like that, 6 or 8 people. Maybe even a little more. But then it'd probably get a little bit too cluttered. We're back in the red base. This base is pretty much completely comprised of long walls with some ramps that go up. And the sniper spawns all the way on the edge here, and there's no real risk to getting to it, because you're just going to spawn there and nobody can really shoot at you when you're trying to get it, so we're going to move that. Here's me attempting to shoot that spawn point, but it's really difficult on this old Xbox controller, and like 3 layers of disconnected latency where I'm doing it through a 360 through an Xbox One, broadcasting as a TV. We're going to fly the Banshee around for a little bit, get some good shots of it from underneath, kind of give you a feeling of what it would be like to fly it around in game. I'm actually going to jump out of it in a second because I get confused with the controls. Sorry if my voice sounds kind of weird, kind of getting over a cold. Well, I'm just jumping down and killing myself right there to show you that you do die from that fall. And now we're just going to jump in the Forge. There's a few things I want to get rid of, but first, I'm going to point out some of the objectives. I believe these are for territories, which is a pretty underrated game type, one of my favorites actually. Just like all the elbows and 2 bases. Actually, the bottom is also a territory, but I forgot to get footage of that. I'm going to get rid of these turrets because there's way too many, especially the ones that are facing outward. I think what I thought when I was a kid was maybe the Banshee was flying around the base and that's how you'd counter it. I'm going to add a rocket launcher down here because the rocket launcher, while it might be difficult to get kills on this level with the rocket launcher unless you're kind of fighting people within the bases, I know it can lock onto the Banshee. I'm going to want some close quarters weapons in here. I can't really decide where I want the shotgun at this point. I'm going to try a few places, but what I ultimately decided on were these little platforms. And I picked them because they're a little bit closer to red base, and blue base has a lot of cover advantage, so I thought that was a good kind of balancing fact. And I didn't want to lean them in any walls because they are power weapons, and I don't want them to be impossible to see. The sniper rifle is now out in the open, much more difficult to get to. This is just me messing around to see if I could get down to the bottom floor without dying, and I was successful by standing on those kind of little Forerunner prong things. The way I have it set up right now is we just have 4 DMRs here, I believe, or 2 DMRs and 2 needler rifles against the wall over there. I'm going to mix it up so that on each side there's a different kind of accurate weapon, and then there's a different kind of accurate weapon on each elbow. Putting a plasma pistol here is a slight kind of noob combo thing going on, and also you could take out the Banshee with it. I don't really like these weapons here, so I'm just going to delete them. I'm a big fan of the grenade launcher in Halo Reach. I think it's one of the best power weapons added to the sandbox. So I'm going to add that. And I'm actually going to go in and edit, after I'm done messing around and getting these good shots. I'm going to go in and edit and add one more shot to it. Oh, I guess I forgot that footage. I add another bullet to the grenade launcher because I think it's a good power weapon, but it's not really strong enough, as strong as the other ones. Adding a plasma pistol here is another good counter to the Banshee, even though it's in the same base, but it could be free for all, or the enemies could have stolen it. Just testing out how many turret shots it takes to take out the Banshee right there. Putting some health packs, putting some fusion coils. Fusion coils are always fun to have in the map. All the best maps have fusion coils or some kind of explosive and cones, but you'll see in a second I'm going to add some just kind of random but interestingly placed objects. Here's a nice shield door I was adding because I didn't want the sniper rifle to be too overpowered. I didn't want people to just get sniped constantly while they're in their base when the red base has so much cover. I thought I could fusion coil jump with the explosive there, but apparently you die in one hit and reach from it. I'm going to add some nice UNSC crates here just for atmosphere and a little bit more cover on this platform because it's really, really open and no one would really have a reason to go there except for getting the sniper, but it's pretty much a death sentence without the cover. I'm adding these Covenant barricades because I think they look really interesting there, and there's some much needed cover there if people are advancing along the elbows. I'm going to add these kind of short range Covenant weapons here. But I'm doing the mix and match thing with the DMR and the Needler where I'm going to get rid of a couple of those plasma repeaters and put the assault rifle there. I'm going to mess around with the geometry here. I kind of wanted to add more to the blue base because it's so simple in comparison to the red base with all of its fancy lifts over there. So I'm going to add kind of a wraparound bridge over here. And I think it looks really nice. It really got like pixel perfect fitting on that and going around. I think it makes it a lot more interesting. I'm going to add a needler here because I deleted the needlers on the other side because I thought that it was kind of weird that there was two needlers on each side because I believe in Reach the needler is technically a power weapon. I'm not sure. I'm messing with these lifts. It was currently that bunker one, and I'm kind of doing something interesting by rotating these little platforms. It looks really appealing and it works a lot better. And I'm slightly adjusting the lifts so that we don't end up with lifts that just smack you into the wall and kill you. So now I either lose very little shield or none at all. Just adding some extra decorations here, just some antennas everywhere. Just to make the map look a little more interesting. Some barricade things on the wall there. I deleted those walls. I don't know if I showed that, but I put these kind of fin things inside of the walls because they're much more interesting looking. And I think that they work better because if I lower them, you can jump on them, kind of advance in a more interesting way. And they're not like super like huge amount of cover. I thought these looked really interesting on here because I'm trying to get that Forerunner look and I don't just want some blocky empty stuff. That looks good right there. Just accents of geometry that make the overall map look a lot better. Moving these man cannons around so that they don't do... So they act exactly the same going in each direction because it would be kind of weird if they didn't. You don't want your map to just be unpredictable unless that's what you're going for, but in the case of man cannons, it's not really nice. Add another shield over there on the opposite side of the runway, and adding a magnum for each of those sides. So if people meet in the middle, they forgot a DMR or a needler rifle, kind of have that balancing thing there. Adding frag grenades to each side too, and a few more accents of decoration. And I think that's mostly it. I'm going to add one more decoration here just so it's not a blank wall of nothingness. Overall, I think the weapon selection and weapon placement now is a complete and total upgrade from the earlier version of the map. I'm going to save it as I do with every video, just whatever the name was, 2019. I think the recommendation of the amount of people it was nice. I think it was a smart decision. Probably like 4 to 10 or 6 to 12. Just not putting a description for the copy of it, but I think the geometry is improved, the look of the map is improved, the flow of the map is improved, and the areas where the weapons are is completely improved. I think that there's not a single thing better about the older version of that map, and I'm pretty proud of it. Thank you for sticking around for this video. I know it's a little bit longer than the other ones, and if you really dedicate 15 minutes of your time just to watch my Halo video, then I thank you, and I really hope you'll subscribe, because if you're going to spend that much time watching this, then you must either really like my videos or you must really like Halo, and either way I'm going to be making more videos. So please subscribe, hit the bell or something, like the video, favorite it. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. Share it around. I'm definitely going to be making more videos in the future. Look me up on Twitter. It's at @theofficial_ESS. That's my Halo Twitter. I am the creator of Energy Sword Sunday. I love Halo. It's been a huge part of my life, and I hope you check it out too. And thank you for watching. Bye.